If 2020 taught us anything as resellers, it's how to pivot. And 2021 is shaping up to do the same. If you are brand new here, my name is Crystal and I'm a full-time reseller. I sell on places like Poshmark, eBay, Mercari, ThreadUp, and The RealReal. And as of 3 days ago, Facebook Marketplace. And that's what we're here to talk about today. If you like reselling content and you enjoy videos like this, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It really helps the channel out and lets YouTube know that you guys are enjoying what I'm putting out. Also, if you like this particular video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up on your way out. Okay, we are in the middle of what I'm calling Snowmageddon, even though it's mostly ice, but whatever. I'm not clever. Okay, so I live in Middle Tennessee. If you don't know, now you know. And I'm originally from the north. I moved down here because I hate the snow, cold, ice, all of it. Give me sunshine or give me death. No. But yeah, so I moved down here because of that, and 2021 just doesn't care what I have to say. They're like, that's so cute. I don't care. So Sunday night we started getting all of this like misty, it was frozen fog is what it came up in as my phone, and it's just been like a straight sheet of ice. And then Wednesday we got a snowstorm. And so now there's a pretty significant amount of snow and ice on the roads. Obviously, we're not equipped to handle that in the South. I am thankful, obviously, that I don't live in Texas. All of my heat and water and everything works fine. My thoughts and prayers do go out to the people in Texas that are dealing with that. But we are okay. We are safe, which is the most important thing. But it has impacted my reselling business a bit because I can't get out to get new inventory. I can't get out to go to the post office. I just can't get out. So anyway, I had to pivot yet again. And thank you 2020 for teaching me how. So that's what this video is going to be about. I'm going to go over how I decided to start selling on Facebook Marketplace and how it's been going. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned. Okay, so why Facebook Marketplace? Here's my thought process, okay? I sell on Poshmark, eBay, Mercari, ThreadUp, and The RealReal. So 5 platforms already I sell on. Now, obviously, eBay, Poshmark, Mercari all have relatively the same things. Everything is cross-listed to all 3 of those platforms. And then ThreadUp has its own stuff that's not listed anywhere else. That's usually like my liquidation. Just because they changed their policies, so now I'm not getting a profit really from ThreadUp. So I'm really just sending them stuff that I haven't been able to move in the last 18 months. Yeah, 18 months. So they get that stuff. And then The RealReal, I just recently started picking back up after the pandemic. They had some issues pre-pandemic, and so I stopped selling with them for a little while, but now I am back to sending stuff to The RealReal. So it's a slow go over there, but that stuff on The RealReal is also not listed anywhere else. So I basically just have like my main source of inventory, which is about 500 items on 3 platforms, which is great because a lot of eyes are on all of those items. And if you know me or you've been following me for any length of time, you know that I truly believe in cross-listing. I think that the platforms have their ups and downs. I talked about eBay recently, but Poshmark in the past has also been up and down. So really they try and like they kind of pick up for each other for the most part. I mean, occasionally they're both down at the same time, but it doesn't happen very often. And the Mercari is basically just like a surprise. Anyway, so I list on all of those platforms and I didn't know what else to do. So I have all of these items, right? And I can't get any new inventory in this week. So my main 3 platforms are going to shun me. Like I just know that from experience that I'm not giving them what they need, which is new inventory. So I'm not going to be getting the amount of sales that I normally get when I'm selling on these platforms. So what do? I had a couple options, which I talked about on Monday's video. I could put my closets on vacation mode and just take a vacation. I could do that. I decided not to do that though. We still have 2 weeks in February, well, this week and then next week. and I have sales goals that I'm trying to meet. So taking a week off really just didn't seem like it would be feasible. So I decided not to do that. My second option was to go through my own personal closet and get rid of some stuff and potentially sell some of that stuff. So I did do that. I spent, 3 hours going through my own personal closet, and what I realized is, actually, I kind of knew this, but like it was just confirmation for me. I am not a fashionable person. Obviously, in my hat and t-shirt, like I'm not a fashionable person, which is fine. Like I don't mind that. I don't strive to be a person who wears Chanel or whatever. It's cute to look at, but it's not practical for my life. And so going through my own closet didn't really produce a whole lot that I would sell. If I found these items in the thrift store, if they were not for personal use, I wouldn't pick them up. So I actually donated a big bag of stuff. Well, it's in a donation bag. Like I said, I haven't been able to get out. So it's in a donation bag. And I do have a couple things that I could probably bring to Plato's Closet and maybe get a couple of dollars for, but nothing that I really could justify spending the time to photograph and measure and list on all of these platforms, if that makes sense. So that was kind of a bust. So here I am, 2 options down. What else do I have? Well, I have 500 active listings. So maybe I could just put them on a different platform and see what happens, right? I've got the time, I can't go anywhere. So that's what I decided to do. I have sold on Facebook Marketplace in the past, but I've only ever done local pickups, which obviously is not feasible right now because people can't get out of their house. So I've seen a couple other resellers doing this, and I thought, I'll give it a try. And I'm going to give you my experience with selling on Facebook Marketplace. I have been selling for, I think since Wednesday the 17th. So this is 3 days worth of sales. And I've sold 8 things, which is actually really good. Some of these things were items like in my house. So I did put on shipping, and I'm going to walk you through that. So basically when you list on Facebook Marketplace, it gives you the option to do local or shipping or both. So I chose both. And then it gives you prepaid labels. So you don't have to measure everything like exact, but it's basically like 0 ounces to 0.5 ounces is one price, 0.5 to a pound is another, a pound to 2 pounds is another, and then 2 pounds to 5 pounds is another. So that's actually, I like that because it's similar to Macari where you're gauging. So it works out for the most part. Now, I did have a couple of shipping issues, and we're going to talk about that after I tell you what sold. So we're going to go through really quickly all 8 things that sold, what they sold for, and what the total I made in 3 days was from Facebook Marketplace. And then we're going to go over some of the issues that I think they need to work on. Okay, so we're going to start with this pair of UGG Betty Brown leather slip-on clogs. They were in a size 7. It was the first thing that sold, full price. I don't know if you can make offers on Facebook, but actually, yes, you can, but you have to click the button to allow it, a lot like eBay. Okay, so I got these at the bins. Funny story about these, I picked up one single Doc Marten shoe, and I couldn't find the other one. And then after the fuss of the shoes had kind of died down, somebody had walked around and was looking for that shoe, and I was like, oh, I have that shoe. And I was just going to give it to him because what am I going to do with one shoe, right? And I like to keep a good relationship with the people at the bins because we do help each other out. So, but he was like, oh, I really want that shoe. Would you trade it for this pair of Uggs? And since I wasn't planning on getting anything in return, I was like, sure, yeah, I'll take them. And so I took them, photographed them. They've been listed on all the other platforms for about 2 weeks maybe. And they actually sold on Facebook Marketplace for $35 plus shipping. So I was really pumped about that. The second thing to sell was also a pair of Uggs. So I'm wondering if just Uggs is a high demand brand on Facebook Marketplace. Each platform really has the brands that perform really well. So I'm going to say as of right now, I'm thinking UGG is probably that brand for Facebook Marketplace. I think Torrid is that brand from Macari, and then eBay and Poshmark, who knows. But, so then the second pair, sorry, I have a hair just like hanging out. Okay, the second pair of Uggs is a pair of Ugg black leather Melania, that's what they're called, moccasin flats. They were in a size 9 and they sold for $40, also a full price sale, and the buyer paid shipping. So $40 on those. I also got those at the bins. Next thing, I actually bought this for myself, but realized I liked it because it had a saying on it. It was like a Bible quote, but I liked it so much I didn't realize that I already have a canvas print of this exact same quote in my house. So I wanted to put it in my bedroom. The current canvas is already in my bedroom, so it just didn't fit. So I ended up getting rid of it, but I bought it at the bin, so it was not really heavy, but I still consider it a personal item. So anyway, it was a canvas sign. It was white and pink, and it just had like a Bible quote on it. It was probably this big. And it sold for $5 plus shipping. I was able to ship it out first class, so the buyer didn't have to pay too much. I think they had like $10 all into that. But again, it was taking up space in my house. If you listen to the podcast that me and my brother did about minimalism, I had promised him that I would go through and get rid of one item per day in the month of February. I've been severely lacking on that, and so this kind of counts, right? And then the next thing that sold, I have had this listed everywhere, including Facebook. It was listed on Facebook Marketplace. It just wasn't listed for shipping, and I switched it to shipping and it sold right away. I even had this listed on Kitizen, which I don't even sell on. I've literally made 0 sales on Kitizen. So it was a Tigger from like Winnie the Pooh hoodie outfit. I know that I got this listed before Halloween because in my original listing it said this would be a cute Halloween costume. So it's been listed for, I don't know, October, November, December, January, February, 5 months. It's got to go. So, and obviously it was a kid's outfit, and it sold for $10. I even took that to Once Upon a Child, and they didn't want it either. So, it sold for $10 plus shipping. Sold out. It shipped out first class as well. So, pretty good on that. And then the next thing, this was a gift to me, and I've actually had them hanging in my bathroom for 5 or 6 years, and they just don't go with my decor anymore, so I figured I would try and sell them. It's a pair of raw iron, like rusted, I don't know, they're supposed to look rusted. It's a pair of like Anchor towel holders. I'm gonna put the pictures up so you guys are gonna see, but anyway, I used to be obsessed with anchors. I have an anchor tattoo right here. Mostly anybody from Rhode Island I feel like is obsessed with anchors, so but yeah, so my whole bathroom used to be like Nautic theme. It's not anymore. So it was time for me to give these a new home. They sold $20 free shipping on those. And here's why. They were heavy. They were probably like 3 pounds all in all. And 3 pounds on Facebook Marketplace is, I think, $12 or $13 to ship. And I knew that they would fit in a padded flat rate, which is $8. So the buyer had originally asked me if I would come down in price, and I said, let's do $20 free shipping, and she said okay. So I did pay $8 to ship that, which comes out of my profit on this particular sale, but still great sale. I've had them just hanging out. Next, this pair of Mook Lukes. They're like slippers kind of, but they have a hard bottom. They're called the Clementine, and they sold for $20 plus shipping. And I did have a problem with this sale and the next sale, which we're going to talk about. But anyway, those sold for $20. And then the next thing sold for $30, a pair of Teva strappy sandals. If you have followed me on Instagram, which my handle will be right here, I do the live thrifts on there, and I asked again if you guys would pick these up, and I got a no again. So I tend to go against the grain, I guess, because every time I put stuff up and I get a majority no, usually those are the items that I'm picking up. So, I don't know. Also, that just goes to show you that you're not picking up what everybody else is picking up. So even if there is another reseller in your thrift store, it's still worth a trip around the block. That's just my 2 cents. Anyway, this pair of Teva sandals, they were a size women's 10, which is a good size because it's a little bit on the larger side. Sold for $30 plus shipping. And then the last thing sold last night, and it was a pair of Nike Flex Experience white and gray sneakers, size 7.5. And you guys have seen these before. I've sold these before, and they got returned to me on Poshmark. The buyer said that they were like too dingy, whatever, which when I relisted them, I did put that in the listing, like they're not as white as you think they are. They definitely have some wear, blah, 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 but they're still in really good condition, so I listed them. This came from that Jomar box, and it did have a small, like, pen mark, like someone just took a pen and went, doop, like a dot. So I did have to put that in the listing because ultimately that is why Poshmark allowed the buyer to send it back, because it had that mark that I didn't put in there, which is completely understandable. So anyway, these sold for $15 plus shipping. So that's 8 sales. 8 sales in 3 days is really good in my opinion. My other platforms, all 3 of them, I made more sales on Facebook Marketplace in those 3 days than I did on all 3 of the other platforms. Like I said, those platforms are mad at me right now because I'm not feeding them. So I'm not surprised at all by this, but let's go ahead and total this up so that we can see what the grand total was. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to tell you guys that Facebook, the way that they pay you is interesting. So basically, you ship the stuff out, and if you use the prepaid label, then it's no big deal, right? Because you're not putting any money out. Now, for that one sale that I did pay shipping, I did have to put the money out first, and then they're going to reimburse me. So that's something to keep in mind if you don't have like a backup amount of money to be putting out. But everything else that I used the prepaid label on was shipped and was totally fine. So, but you don't get paid until the item has been received by the buyer. So we see that on Poshmark, we see that on Mercari, we don't see that on eBay. So the money's not directly deposited into your account. You need to ship it, wait for the buyer. I don't know if there's an approval process because none of that has happened yet. Like I said, I literally just started. So I definitely am not the end all be all know all of Facebook Marketplace. I'm just trying something new. Okay. So I added it all up. We're looking at $175 in 3 days on Facebook Marketplace, which is pretty good. And I have 2 items on here that were personal items, and I have 1 item that I was tired of looking at. So that's a good chunk of things that are getting out of my house. Almost $200 on there. That's pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Obviously, that doesn't take out fees or cost of goods or the $8 that it cost me to ship that 1 item or anything. Just that was just like a blanket, this is how much it cost. So overall, I'm pretty happy with it. Honestly, it was like a little addicting because the sales were quick. Like this stuff was listed and sold within 3 days, which is insane to me. So that really motivated me to continue listing on there, and I'm going to continue today as well. So here are the things that I want to talk about that are not so good. So if you know, I've talked about this before, I don't weigh my stuff. I just eyeball it, and usually shoes are over a pound, and so that's pretty much where I mark them. Well, there are 2 items on here, the Mook Lukes and the Teva sandals, that I had marked as first class shipping because I keep everything in the storage unit, so I wasn't able to go touch them again. I was just like trying to remember, and I was like, oh yeah, they're probably like right there, first class. So I put them both first class. Both of them need to be shipped priority. Here's the problem. I've already printed the labels for them, so the post office is going to give me a hard time. So I contacted Facebook customer support. This is my other issue. So there's not a way for me to change the label on my end. So here's the problem. I contacted Facebook customer support, and they said they would get back to me within 2 business days. So I'm getting Poshmark vibes here. And basically, 2 business days, it was Friday. I have to ship this stuff out by Monday. So they may not even contact me in that time frame, which they did, but there's no phone number. So it's just email, which is annoying. So I contact them, tell them the problem. Hey, I made a mistake. How do I fix it? I'm fine if they say, go buy your own label. Fine. It was my mistake. I'll pay for it. But that's not what they said. They said, there's nothing you can do, basically. I'm like, what do you mean there's nothing I can do? So they're not allowing me to cancel the sale. The post office will not allow me to ship it because it's too heavy. They will not give me a new label. And I'm not allowed to purchase my own because there's no place for me to upload the tracking. So that is extremely frustrating. Now, I get it. It was my mistake. We've talked about this before. I told you it was going to be a lesson learned, and then I said, yeah, probably not. I'm going to continue probably doing it. Here I am doing it again. So no surprise, but there should be a way for me to fix my mistake. The buyer shouldn't have to deal with that. So I contacted one of my buyers and said, hey, this is what's happening. And she was very frustrated. She was like, what do you mean we had a deal, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, there's nothing I can do. So I have been in contact with basic customer support 3 emails now, and they're not understanding what I'm saying. Basically, they just keep saying, yeah, you can print the label from Facebook. And I'm like, I know, but it's the wrong label. And they're like, well, just put in your stuff and then print the label. And I'm like, no, I've already done that, but it's wrong. And he's like, okay, well, if you have the label, just ship it out. I'm like, no, I need someone to call me so that I can explain this over the phone. They're like, we're really sorry that you're having difficulty. Please rate us on this survey. So I did and was like, garbage, garbage, garbage. You guys aren't helping me at all. So far they've not been any help at all. Basically, my last email said, so do you just want me to ship it out incorrectly? And they have not given me anything back. So I may have no choice but to ship those things out on a first class label, which I don't know what's going to happen at that point. It may get returned to me because there's not enough money to pay for it, which is very likely. Or they may deliver it to the buyer and then the buyer may have to pay the additional shipping, which is not a good look for my business. So I really don't know what to do here. It's kind of a catch-22. I'm waiting until the absolute last day when they're like, you need to ship this out, because I have already tried to cancel this order and it's not happening. So I don't know. I will keep you updated on what actually happens, but I'm not shipping them out until Monday because hopefully within the next 2 days, Facebook will give me some sort of direction. But basically, the lesson that I'm learning from this is that I'm going to either be pricing my stuff, like the shipping, higher than what I anticipate it to be, or I'm going to just click print my own label, because then I have control over it. So if I decide to do that, obviously I'm going to have to factor that into my prices. I don't do that on any other platform just because it really just isn't the way my brain works. I need to be able to differentiate between shipping and the cost of the item. But if Facebook's going to continue to not be helpful in this arena, then I'm going to have to just do it the way that it's best for my business. So it may be that I'm starting to offer free shipping and putting the shipping cost into the cost of the item. So more to come on that, but that's pretty much my experience so far selling on Facebook Marketplace for 3 days. Overall, I'm still going to continue to do it. I think it's been a nice influx of money into the business. It's fun. The things are moving pretty quickly. It's surprising what's moving over there, and all of that is giving me some like joy. So I'm going to continue to list on there. But the other thing I wanted to tell you guys really quickly before I let you go is that if you sell more than $599 on Facebook, which I just sold $200 in 3 days, so there's a good possibility that that will be me, you will have to give them information for tax time. They're probably going to 1099 you or give you some sort of tax information at the end of the year. So just be cautious of that, because I know there are a lot of people who sell on Facebook just to sell their own stuff and they're not a business. But if you're selling more than that allotted amount, they are going to give you a tax form. So just be prepared for that. which is not a big deal in my business because I pay taxes on all of my stuff anyway. But if you don't, or if you're just doing this as kind of a hobby, just be aware $599 is the number to stay below. So anyway, with all that being said, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I know that this video wasn't planned, but I hope that it gave you some information and that you enjoyed it. And I will see you guys on Monday to talk about what's selling on all the other platforms. Bye.